Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, of course. And as you can see from the title of this video, we are going to be taking a look back at the season 3 reunion. It is one of the tougher reunions for me to watch because Melody gets upset after Martell's shenanigans. You know, she really would love to be elsewhere in terms of day-to-day living, at least at the time that this reunion was filmed. And, Martell was just being really foolish. But we're going to focus on a question that Carlos posed, and we're going to get two oppositional answers from Melody and from Martell. Now, before we take this stroll down memory lane, you know what I'm going to ask, right? I ask if you could please be so kind and hit the like button on that video. On this video, you hear us content creators ask that all the time. Then YouTube will recommend this video to more people who enjoy discussing the various topics that come about Love and Marriage Huntsville. That's one of the things that I think is so special about Love and Marriage Huntsville is that over the years, it generates so much conversation. I love to watch the first 2 seasons. You have Marceau's old school mindset where he felt like because he was the man, he simply just has to pay the bills, go out and work a job. And he felt like Letitia should have just been limited to being in the home, taking care of the kids, doing all things domestic. So that there was that conversation concerning gender roles. Then, of course, Martell's infidelity and, Kimmy not really liking Melody and that whole negative female energy. So all sorts of topics that you can discuss. So it's always something that I love about this show. And of course, if you have not already done so, please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit. I would definitely love to have you as one of the showstoppers. Everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion. And the Copyright Act of 1976 says that my fair use commentary on these sound bites are allowed for criticism. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and play this audio. We're going to hear Carlos pose a question, and he's going to ask Melody to respond first.
Your mental stability, like, Tisha, you're off Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you're done with Twitter.
I'm done, yeah.
Because of what?
It's just some hateful people out here. And I just can't let that continue to seep into my spirit. And I know the number one advice I asked you, Carlos, when we first got the show, I was like, what is the best advice you give me? And you said, don't read the comments. And I totally understand that now.
Even with you, Melody and Martell, like, this show happened because you two pitched it to me. But you two were married at the time. And the goal of this show was to showcase power couples in Huntsville. You two are no longer a couple. Is there any regrets to signing on to doing the show?
Well, for me, I will say absolutely not. I think that it has opened doors very quickly that could have taken, for all of us on this stage, that could have taken a very long time to open otherwise. So you have to look for the good and the positive in it. And there's definitely been more positive than negative. So I don't regret doing the show at all.
I do. You do? Tell me.
Yeah. Ultimately, I take it, I don't know, about 7 or 8 years ago when I asked her, what do you want to do? She said she wanted to be on TV. But I feel that, I sacrificed a lot for Melody to live out her dream. You know what I'm talking about?
Martell did what a husband should do, and a wife as well. If there's something that a spouse desires to do, then of course you try your best to get behind them and push them in whatever that is. So, for example, as we started doing renovation.
In terms of, creating, it's like,
do you feel like you created the Melody Hope brand?
I think I helped bring it out, of course.
Okay.
It's a lot of times, people can have a spouse that's not supportive. I was really putting things in place for her,
You did this show for Melody.
Well, ultimately, yes.
So how does it make you feel to hear that your ex-husband feels like this show he has regrets doing, but he only did it really for you?
Well, I'm so sorry. Well, the reason I like regret now is only because anything that could have contributed to me losing my family or disrupting my family, I mean, hell yeah, I'd much rather, take it back, because I think it shined a light on something that could have been private and could have worked through, and I'll still have my children intact with my wife and myself.
Do you feel like you would still be married if it wasn't for this show?
Okay, so you heard it there where Carlos asked Melody and Martell if they regretted being on the TV show. And Melody said absolutely not, because it has led to additional opportunities. More doors have opened for her to meet and work with other amazing people. It created additional streams of income. Her following increased significantly, which the following has converted into not only customers of her various products through her skincare line, 7th Avenue, her masterclass with Melody, where she teaches people property preservation, but also speaking engagements all over the United States. And also, her fan base have also converted into her support system. So it's literally synergy, and it is very positive. So that's what she was able to glean from the show. And I totally get why she does not have regrets. Martell says that he regrets the show because he felt like if they could have handled the matter privately and not publicly, then he would still have his kids and his wife. In my opinion, that is what Martell tells himself. The level of delusion with him, it is immeasurable. You can't even measure it. It is off the charts. So he assumes that Melody only had the strength to leave him because they were on a TV show where people were seeing, his trifling behavior and disrespect towards his marriage. But I feel like everything happens for a reason. And God knew that she was going to leave him and would need the income and would need the customers for the skincare. So the TV show actually came just in the nick of time. Otherwise, had she stayed, the income that she would have generated on her own from her businesses would have been going towards helping a child that came from outside of the marriage. So everything happened in divine timing, 100%. So I want to talk about, because obviously at the end of that soundbite, it goes to a commercial break and then it's going to pick back up. And so therefore we are going to pick back up. So I'm going to go ahead and play this next soundbite and then I will come back with my commentary.
You would still be married if it wasn't for the show.
Yes.
Melody, would you still be married to Martell if it wasn't for the show?
Absolutely not. No.
And the reason I say that is because he just got through saying a few minutes ago is not to read the comments. That's one of the main things I always tell Melody. Like, hey, social media, stop reading the comments. Every 2 or 3 times a day, she always come to me about the comments. I'm like, Mel, leave the comments alone. Don't pay attention to these people. Like, to this day, I'm probably like the most disliked out of all of us. Mm-hmm. But I am so cool though. I don't stress.
Well, a lot of people don't like second. I will say this. Marcel and Tisha definitely trends every week. But speaking of Marcel, when you first learned that this show was going to be called Love and Marriage Huntsville, you sent a scathing email to the producers with your disdain for the title of the show.
Right.
Why did you hate the title of Love and Marriage Huntsville so much?
Well, I thought that we were doing a construction show. It's like Love and Marriage. I'm like, wait, I'm good at construction.
You're not good at Love and Marriage? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what he said.
You're good at construction.
We knew that when the title changed that we should expect some different things.
Yeah, because we didn't.
And I think that's part that was a little disheartening. Just a hair.
Yeah,
Just a hair.
Just a hair.
And Maurice, for you, because you were in law school at the time the show happened, how do you feel when people say this show went from being positive to just arguments?
It's a little disheartening because if you look at each one of us individually, we're all examples of success. And the one thing that the show does do a job of is showing us start something, and then it shows the success. It might not follow everything that we do. However, you see success from inception to, to the actual delivery of it. So when people say that this went from basically sugar to right, then they're not looking at the whole picture.
Okay, so we also heard them being very honest about the beginning of Love and Marriage Huntsville. They were all under the impression that the show, of course, was going to be about home renovations, home building, construction, as Marceau said. So he actually spoke his mind once he learned that the title was becoming Love and Marriage Huntsville. I believe that the original vision from Melody was to call it Rocket City, and or Rocket City was a part of the title overall, and then Carlos changed it. So they were all under the impression that it was really going to be strictly about their businesses, and then he wanted to also include the dynamics of their marriage. And it could have been, once they started filming and those field producers were doing the confessionals with them, that they were like, you know what, Carlos, there is a lot going on with their relationships. We have like the archaic, old-fashioned, antiquated gender roles between Marceau and Tisha that will definitely provoke conversation amongst the viewers, between people who can relate to their type of marriage, to women who think that that is just totally caveman thinking. And then we also see Kimmy and Maurice. They are the newlyweds, where he also has an ex-wife, and there's kind of some tension between Kiowa and Kimmy. And then we have Melody and Martell, where Melody has been dealing with Martell's infidelity, and she is at a crossroads as to whether or not to end the marriage. So I think once Carlos King got that feedback from the producers that were with them day in and day out, then I guess he said, ooh, this is juicy, where it can be more about their businesses. And then bada bing, bada boom. And then he changed it to Love and Marriage. So again, I go back to, everything happens for a reason. When I think of Melody utilizing this platform and maximizing it, in the area of business, I feel like she has done it the best out of everyone on the cast. And overall, when it comes to reality TV stars, I feel like Melody Cherie and Candy Burris Tucker from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the R&B group Escape, I feel like the two of them, Melody and Candy, they have literally taken the reality TV shows that they've been on and basically made them a commercial, and then they're both very good at engaging with their audiences on social media and always posting, and they totally use a synergy. So like Candy, she still posts on YouTube. She has a backup YouTube channel where she's posting all sorts of behind the scenes with the Queens of R&B tour. I've watched quite a few videos this summer of like their tour bus, different cities that they've been in, and it's been great. And then, Candy will text you. She has a texting community just like Melody, and then she'll say, hey, I'm about to go live on Amazon, and then she talks with her fans on Amazon. So it's just a lot of engagement, a lot of putting herself out there. And Melody Cherie is the exact same way. If she is not fasting from social media, she's posting every day her 7th Avenue products, pictures of herself in a J. Bolin collection. She's promoting her speaking engagements and her seminars, her events where she's inviting people, selling tickets, promoting the speakers like she did today. And I'm a nerd, and I used to watch The Apprentice as well as Celebrity Apprentice. So I totally remember one of Melody's speakers for her event on August 10th, Dr. Randall Pinkett. He's a Rhodes Scholar. I'll never forget that season of Apprentice because it was down to him and a Caucasian lady whom I can't think of her name, but she used to be the financial reporter on CBS post The Apprentice. Donald Trump was trying to talk Dr. Randall Pinkett into sharing the winning with the white woman. And it really seemed like on a symbolic level, Donald Trump was trying to equate the black man with a white woman, making them equal. But Dr. Randall stood his ground. He stood on business and he said, no, all of your previous seasons, you've only had one winner. You've never asked anyone else to share it. And I have the credentials. I've worked hard. I deserve to win. And Donald Trump made him the winner of that season of The Apprentice. So I always loved watching the various people do the project management. And then, of course, I watched Celebrity Apprentice, which was hilarious. LaToya Jackson crying, the actress Marlee Matlin, who has the disability, she was deaf, and her and Dionne Warwick were getting into it. Legit, Dionne Warwick would say something back to Marlee Matlin and wait for the sign language person to translate what Marlee Matlin was saying. That is one of the most hilarious moments in reality TV ever. And if you can search that clip on YouTube, I suggest you watch it because Dionne Warwick was arguing with a deaf woman and was waiting for the sign language person that was assisting Marlee to translate. I ain't never seen nothing like that before in my life. But yeah, so I was following Melody Cherie on her Instagram today, and I was like, oh my gosh, I remember Dr. Randall Pinkett from The Apprentice. So that is exciting. But Melody has totally maximized this entire experience with expanding her brands, having a strong customer base that repeatedly buys her products. I DM'd her last week like, oh my gosh, I need to make a video about my routine with your products. I have to get organized though because I have them scattered all over. And I would want to, like, I have a vision in my mind of how I would do it. And it would be both my skin and my locks. So as soon as I may do it like Saturday night, I may do it then, you know, and then I'll just collect everything, have it here and just go through my routine. But you know, it's a very wonderful product line. So she has, I remember her sharing her statistic of the number of people who return. I think it's like 80%, which is fantastic. Okay. And so she has just used this show, this platform to her advantage. And that is so smart. And she's very hardworking. And Martell just sees the show from a negative standpoint because the show, that's just coincidental that at the time of the show that he lost his family. But he had been screwing and licking and doing whatever else. That's how he lost them. And we all know that. And so does he. But, you know, I love the throwbacks, you know, especially when Love and Marriage Huntsville is on a hiatus. It makes me think of these videos to do. They're always fun. But what do you think about, you know, Melody using this platform the way that she has to expand her brand and her customer base on a national level? And what do you think about, you know, Martell totally lying to himself about the show totally ruining his marriage? I thank you all so much for checking out this video. I always appreciate the support. Please hit the like button on this video as it is a free way of supporting the channel. And please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit if you have not already done so. So it is Hump Day, Wednesday night. We are getting to the end of the week already. I am so thrilled. I went to the park today. So I went to the gym yesterday. I went to the park today after work. It was scorching hot. The sun was down on me. I loved it. So I definitely got some vitamin D. That vitamin D from the sun, not that other like bedroom candy vitamin D, but vitamin D from the sun, okay? And yeah, I had a great long evening. And then I came home and created some content. And tomorrow will be a thriving Thursday. I did stand in the mirror and say some affirmations this morning before I logged in for work. And so, yeah, definitely do that. Journal to get your thoughts out of your head. I always find that when something is on my mind and I do take the time to journal about it, and then when I go back and read what I wrote, I'm like, okay, it's not as bad. And then I'll write another paragraph and I'll start off with the truth is it's really just this or like that. Or like if you go for a walk or go to the gym, that exercise totally clears your mind and the problem it seems to shrink somehow. Like it just doesn't seem as serious. But I wanted to share that with you all. And I will talk with you very soon. Bye.